Hello, and welcome to The Brief Insight, your go to podcast for breaking down the latest trends, research, and policies shaping our world. Whether you're passionate about sustainability, global economics, or emerging innovations, this is where we simplify complex ideas to keep you informed and inspired. If you enjoy what you hear, don't forget to like this episode, subscribe to our channel, and share it with anyone looking for insights that matter. We're here every Monday and Friday, so hit that notification bell to stay updated. Your support helps us grow and continue bringing you sharp, relevant content that sparks conversation. Thank you for tuning into The Brief Insight. Now let's dive into today's topic.
All right, everyone, get ready, because today we were taking a deep dive into something pretty amazing.
Amazing and important.
I like how you added that. Very true. It is important.
Well, we're talking about the future of jobs.
The future of your
No.
job.
Exactly.
So we're diving deep into the World Economic Forum's Future of Jobs Report 2025.
This report is, it's really interesting, I think.
What's so interesting about it?
Well, it's like they got a hold of a crystal ball and looked into the future of the job market all the way to 2030.
It does feel kind of like a cheat sheet for the future.
That's a great way to put it.
Like, what job should we be going after? What skills should we be learning?
Exactly.
And it's not just some random predictions either.
No.
It's based on insights from over 1,000 top employers.
1,000 of the biggest companies around the world.
And we're talking about a massive pool of 14 million workers.
14 million.
So we're talking serious data here.
Definitely. And, they don't just predict what's going to happen, but the report really digs into why these changes are coming.
Oh, interesting. So it's not just like, boom, robots are taking over.
No, it's much more nuanced than that.
So it breaks down like those big mega trends that are reshaping how we work.
Right, and it gets into the specific skills that are going to be hot commodities in the future.
The must-have skills.
Exactly.
So it's, like you said, a crystal ball for your career.
Pretty much.
And they point out some really interesting trends.
Yeah, like one of the biggest game changers they highlight is that widening access to digital technology.
Okay, so more people getting online, more people having smartphones and stuff.
Yeah, that's part of it.
But 60% of these employers actually called it the most transformative trend, which is a lot.
Yeah, 60%, that's a huge majority.
Why do they think it's so important?
Well, you got to think of it like wider digital access is like the foundation for so many other advancements.
I never thought about it that way.
Like it fuels AI, it fuels robotics.
Makes sense.
Even those new energy solutions everyone's talking about, they're all connected to wider digital access.
So it's like digital access unlocks all these other possibilities.
Yeah, it's not just about being connected, it's about unlocking a whole new world of possibilities.
It's kind of like, I know. It's like a domino effect.
Okay, I like that.
Digital access opens up opportunities for other tech to develop and spread.
Right,
And then that changes everything else.
exactly.
Wow, I hadn't really thought about it that way before.
It's pretty amazing when you think about the potential to,
Like what?
like to level the playing field globally.
Give everyone an equal chance.
Yeah, imagine people in remote villages in India or Africa suddenly having the same access to information and opportunities as someone in, Silicon Valley.
Now that would be incredible.
It really has the potential to change the world.
It's pretty inspiring when you think about it that way.
It is.
But the report doesn't just focus on the good stuff, right?
Right. It doesn't shy away from the challenges either.
Like what kinds of challenges?
Well, for example, the rising cost of living.
Ugh, yeah. I've definitely noticed that.
It's a major concern for employers, too, even with all the predictions about inflation going down,
Yeah, which makes me wonder if everything's getting more expensive, what does that mean for our salaries in the future?
Exactly.
It makes you rethink what kinds of jobs we should even be going after, in the next few years.
Right. It's something to think about for sure.
Okay, so we've got tech expanding, costs are rising.
Oh, and don't forget climate change.
Right.
That's another big one.
The report actually puts climate change right up there as a top priority for these companies, right?
They actually identify climate change mitigation and adaptation as top priorities.
So we're talking about a huge surge in those green jobs everyone's been predicting.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So those renewable energy engineers, sustainable agriculture specialists, all those jobs focused on the environment.
Those kinds of roles are in high demand now, and the report says that demand's only going to keep growing.
So learning about solar panels and wind turbines might be a good idea.
It wouldn't hurt.
Okay, so we've got tech expanding, costs rising, the planet heating up. What else is in store for us?
Well, the report also digs into some pretty big demographic shifts.
Like what?
Well, we're talking about an aging workforce in developed countries.
A lot of people retiring.
Yeah, while at the same time, developing nations have a young, booming workforce.
So it's like these two very different worlds colliding.
It creates a really unique set of challenges and opportunities.
Then there's that wild card, geoeconomic fragmentation.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
All that talk about trade wars, rising nationalism. It makes you wonder how that's going to affect the job market,
Well, think about the impact on global supply chains.
which are already a mess.
Makes you wonder if we'll see more jobs being brought back to home countries or if companies will just start looking for new markets entirely.
What a mess.
It's a question with potentially huge implications, that's for sure.
Okay, so we've talked about those big landscape changes.
The big picture stuff.
But what about the individual jobs themselves?
Right, let's get specific.
What's hot and what's not so hot?
Yeah, what's heading for the chopping block?
All right, let's get down to the nitty-gritty.
Let's do it.
Which jobs are going to be in high demand?
No surprises here. Tech-related roles are going to be huge.
So like software developers, data scientists, that kind of thing.
Yeah, big data specialists, fintech engineers, AI and machine learning specialists.
AI and machine learning, that's a hot topic these days.
All leading the pack.
Makes sense, but I bet those autonomous vehicle specialists are right up there too, with the whole green jobs, boom.
You got it.
It's amazing how one trend, like the green transition, can create so many new job opportunities.
And here's an interesting tidbit. Remember those delivery driver shortages?
Yeah, it was impossible to get anything delivered during the pandemic.
Well, buckle up because they're not going away anytime soon.
So robots aren't taking over those jobs after all.
Not yet, at least.
The report actually predicts delivery drivers will be one of the fastest growing job categories.
Interesting.
Definitely unexpected.
But there are certain jobs that are definitely shrinking.
Yeah, like I'm guessing those clerical and administrative roles.
Exactly.
All that paperwork and data entry.
A lot of that is being automated.
Makes sense. Robots are good at that kind of stuff.
But here's an interesting twist. The report says that jobs in the care economy, like nursing and social work, are actually increasing.
Really?
Yeah.
I wouldn't have expected that.
It's largely driven by that aging population we talked about earlier in developed countries.
So it's like this domino effect again.
Oh, you like that domino effect.
Yeah, it's catchy, right?
It is.
One trend impacts another, creating a totally unexpected outcome.
And it highlights that the future of work isn't just about robots and code.
It's about people, too.
People and technology working together.
Exactly. So let's talk about those people.
Okay, what about them?
What skills are they going to need to navigate this new world of work?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
I think it is. The report says having the right skills will be more important than ever.
More important than ever before.
Okay, let's get to those skills. What does the report say?
What are the top skills we should be focusing on?
The must-haves.
Well, the top 3 fastest-growing skill sets are pretty much what you'd expect. AI and big data, networks and cybersecurity, and technological literacy.
Yeah, got to be tech-savvy these days. But is it really enough to just be good
Oh.
at tech?
That's a good question.
What does the report say about that?
Well, it actually emphasizes that it's not enough just to be tech-savvy.
So there's more to it.
It really hammers home the need for adaptability and problem-solving.
Okay, so you've got to be able to think on your feet.
Exactly. They're saying employers are looking for people who can think critically and thrive in a tech-driven world.
No matter what changes come their way.
Exactly.
So it's not just about knowing how to code.
It's about knowing how to think.
That's actually kind of reassuring.
I think so too.
And what's fascinating is that even with all this tech talk, the report actually finds that human-centered skills are more crucial than ever.
Right.
Like resilience, creative thinking, leadership.
All those qualities that make us, well, human.
And that brings us to another massive piece of the puzzle. The AI revolution.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
It's not just hype. This is really happening.
It's happening now.
The report says a whopping 86% of employers believe AI is going to completely change how their businesses work.
That's a huge number.
It is. That's huge.
And while everyone talks about AI as a job killer, the report actually presents a more nuanced perspective.
So it's not all doom and gloom.
Exactly.
It actually predicts that AI will both create and displace jobs.
It's a two-sided coin.
That's interesting.
The report gives this really interesting example. Imagine 100 workers.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
29 will be upskilled in their current roles.
Okay, so they'll learn new skills to work with AI.
19 will be reskilled for brand new roles.
So they'll move into totally different jobs.
But unfortunately, 11 might be left behind.
That's a pretty sobering thought.
It is something to think
It
about.
makes you realize how important it is to stay adaptable and keep learning new skills.
Exactly. So the question becomes, how do we navigate this whole human-machine frontier?
Right. How do we make sure we're not one of those 11 left behind?
That's where things get really interesting. The robots are coming.
Well, not exactly. We were talking about how AI is predicted to both create and displace jobs.
Right. It's not just about replacing humans entirely.
Yeah, the report actually gets into how this whole AI thing is going to shake up different industries.
And it's fascinating how it's not just about replacing humans entirely.
So it's not like robots are going to steal all our jobs.
No.
What is it then?
The report really focuses on this idea of human-machine collaboration,
Human-machine collaboration.
sometimes called augmentation.
Augmentation. So it's more about humans and machines teaming up.
Yeah, kind of like a dynamic duo situation.
Okay, I like that analogy.
Batman and Robin working together.
Exactly.
And this kind of collaboration, it's going to reshape how work gets done across almost every industry.
Every industry.
Pretty much.
Wow, that's huge.
The report actually breaks down how this shift will look sector by sector.
Oh, so it gets really specific.
It does.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Let's get into some examples then.
Yeah, what kinds of changes are we talking about?
Okay, so for instance, in fields like insurance and pensions management,
Okay.
and even telecommunications, the report predicts that automation will really take the lead.
Like, how much are we talking here?
We're talking over 95% of the tasks currently done by humans being taken over by machines.
Wow, 95%. That's a lot.
It is. It's a massive shift.
But what about those sectors where human interaction is, kind of the whole point,
Like what?
like healthcare or education?
Right.
You can't really automate a doctor or a teacher.
Right. Well, that's where it gets really interesting.
Okay, tell me more.
The report finds that sectors like medical and healthcare services,
Oh,
and even government and public sector jobs, they'll see a much more balanced approach.
more balance.
They predict that nearly half of the reduction in human-led tasks in these areas,
Okay.
it'll be driven by increased collaboration with AI, not full-blown automation.
So it's not just about replacing humans completely.
Right.
It's about finding ways for humans and machines to work together.
To complement each other.
So it's not a one-size-fits-all situation.
Definitely not.
Different industries are going to find their own unique ways to make AI work for them.
Exactly.
Makes sense.
And this is a crucial point when we think about the skills people will need for the future,
Okay, how so?
It's not just about being a coding whiz.
Right.
It's about knowing how to work effectively with AI.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like, AI might be able to analyze a ton of medical data in seconds,
Right.
but it's still going to take a human doctor to interpret that information.
And figure out the best course of treatment for a patient.
Exactly. The human element is still essential.
Okay, so we've talked about AI,
A lot about AI.
but what about those other massive trends we discussed earlier?
The green transition, demographic shifts, geoeconomic fragmentation.
Yeah. How do they impact the jobs and skills outlook?
Well, it's not like AI is the only thing changing the world of work.
Right, there's so much happening at once.
It's all connected.
Okay, so how do these trends all fit together?
If we connect AI to the bigger picture, we can see how these trends interact.
Okay, give me an example.
For instance, the green transition.
That shift towards renewable energy and sustainability.
It's driving huge demand for skills in those areas.
Like what kind of skills?
Sustainability, renewable energy, green skills.
Yeah, those green jobs are hot right now.
They are.
The report actually mentioned that LinkedIn members with green skills are being hired at a much faster rate than those without them.
Really?
Yeah, so that's definitely something to pay attention to. And remember, the report also showed that climate change mitigation and adaptation were top priorities for those 1,000 employers.
Right.
This means we're likely to see even more investment in green jobs over the next few years.
It's a global priority.
Okay, but what about geoeconomic fragmentation?
All that global uncertainty.
Yeah, how is that playing into the skills landscape?
Well, the report found that it's actually leading to increased demand for security-related roles and skills.
Security.
Cybersecurity specifically.
Oh, that makes sense.
As companies are navigating a more complex, potentially volatile global landscape,
Right.
they need people who can keep their data and operations safe.
And with all the cyber attacks happening these days, it's no wonder cybersecurity is in such high demand.
Exactly.
But I wonder how geoeconomic fragmentation is going to affect things like offshoring and reshoring jobs.
That's a good question.
Companies might want to bring jobs back home, but then they might also be seeking out new markets and opportunities abroad.
Like a push and pull.
Exactly.
The report actually highlights that it's creating a lot of uncertainty around whether companies will ultimately offshore or reshore jobs.
It's definitely a complex situation, and it doesn't sound like anyone has all the answers.
No one knows for sure what the future holds.
But what's clear is that adaptability and a global mindset are going to be essential for workers in this kind of environment.
You have to be able to roll with the punches.
Exactly.
So we've got AI, the green transition, these global power shifts,
It's a lot to keep track of.
a lot of moving parts.
But I guess what it really boils down to is having the right skills to navigate this rapidly changing world.
Skills are the key.
And that's why the report dedicates a whole section to what they call the skills outlook,
The skills of the future.
which we'll dig into next.
Can't wait.
It really gets into the specific skills that are going to be in high demand by 2030.
The must-have skills.
Okay, skills outlook coming up. Earlier, we touched on the top 3 fastest growing skills. But what else does the report say? What other skills are going to be essential for the future?
Well, the report actually starts by highlighting the skills that employers currently see as essential.
Okay, so what are they looking for right now?
And it's not just about technical know-how.
Oh.
Analytical thinking is still the top skill.
So being able to analyze information, solve problems, think critically.
Exactly.
Makes sense. That's always been important.
Followed by resilience, flexibility, and agility.
So being able to adapt to change.
Being able to roll with the punches.
So being able to think critically and adapt to change.
That's more important than ever.
And those are the top skills.
They are, followed closely by leadership and social influence,
Okay.
creative thinking, and even motivation and self-awareness.
Motivation and self-awareness.
And all those human-centered
The
skills
things that make us human.
that are vital for success in any field.
So even with all this talk about robots and algorithms, human skills are still highly valued by employers,
Absolutely, they are essential.
which is kind of reassuring.
It is.
But those are the skills that are important now, right?
Right.
How are those skills expected to evolve in the coming years?
Because what's essential today might not be enough to thrive in the job market of tomorrow.
Right, so what does the report say about that?
Well, it finds that while those technological skills will continue to be super important,
Yeah, you got to have those tech skills.
there's a growing demand for skills that actually complement and enhance human capabilities.
So things like creative thinking, problem solving, emotional intelligence,
You got it.
those skills that robots can't really replicate.
Exactly. And one skill that really stands out is this idea of curiosity and lifelong learning.
Curiosity and lifelong learning, I love that.
It's about always being curious, always wanting to learn new things,
So you got to be a lifelong learner.
always searching for new knowledge and skills to stay ahead of the curve.
If you're not learning, you're falling behind.
That's the reality of the future of work.
Okay, so we have the lowdown on the skills of the future.
The must-have skills.
But how do we actually get those skills?
Where do we even start?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is, and that's where things get really interesting.
Okay, I'm hooked. What does all this mean for you?
Yeah, for you, the listener.
How can you use this information, to navigate your own career path?
Your own journey.
That's the big question, isn't it?
The million-dollar question.
And the report actually offers some really valuable insights on this.
It does.
One of the key takeaways is that embracing a mindset of lifelong learning.
Lifelong learning.
That's
Crucial.
absolutely crucial.
Yeah.
We touched on this earlier, but the job market of 2030,
Oh, it's going to look completely different.
drastically different from the one we know today.
So different.
And the only way to stay ahead of the curve, really,
Stay relevant.
is to constantly be learning, growing, and adapting
Adapting your skill set.
your skill set. Yeah,
The learning never stops.
it really doesn't.
So what does that look like in practice?
Yeah, how do we become lifelong learners?
Well, it starts with being proactive.
Okay, so don't just wait for things to happen.
Don't wait for your employer to offer you training,
Take charge.
Take ownership of your own professional development.
There are so many resources out there these days.
Oh my gosh, so many.
Online courses.
Tons of online courses.
A lot of them are even free.
We're super affordable.
Yes.
So no excuses.
And don't be afraid to step outside of your comfort zone.
Try something new.
The report highlights the importance of developing a wide range of skills,
Not just specializing in one thing.
both technical and human-centered.
those soft skills.
Yeah, so if you're already a tech whiz, maybe it's time to take a course on communication or leadership.
Or public speaking.
And if you're a natural people person, maybe you could explore some basic coding or data analysis.
Or try your hand at AI.
The more well-rounded you are, the more adaptable you'll be.
To all those changes that are heading our way.
That makes a lot of sense.
So we've talked about lifelong learning, but what about the job search itself?
Right. How can someone, position themselves for success?
In this crazy job market.
Yeah, because it's constantly evolving.
That's where the report's emphasis on skills-based hiring comes in.
Skills-based hiring. Okay.
Big shift.
So companies are moving away from just looking at traditional resumes,
And university degrees.
those pieces of paper,
So they're not just looking at what you did in the past, but what you can actually do now.
regardless of how you learned those skills.
Experience over credentials.
Exactly.
So it's super important to be able to articulate your skills clearly.
Yeah, show them what you can do.
Highlight your accomplishments, not just your job titles.
And think about how your skills can be applied in different contexts.
Don't limit yourself to just one specific industry.
Be flexible.
The report also highlighted the growing importance of networking.
Networking. It's not just what you know.
It's who you know.
Exactly. So attend industry events, connect with people on LinkedIn.
Reach out to people you admire for informational interviews.
Building a strong network can open so many doors.
It can help you stay in the loop.
Absolutely.
And here's another crucial piece of advice from the report. Don't underestimate the power of those human-centered skills.
That's the soft skills.
Even in a tech-driven world, they're only going to become more valuable.
More valuable.
Think about it as automation takes over those routine tasks.
The boring stuff.
It's those human skills that will truly set you apart.
So things like creativity, critical thinking, problem solving, emotional intelligence.
The ability to collaborate effectively.
Those are the skills that machines can't replicate.
And they're the skills that will be in high demand.
As companies try to navigate this increasingly complex future.
So if you're feeling a little overwhelmed by all this talk about AI and robots,
Take a deep breath.
remember, your human skills are your superpower.
They are.
Embrace them, develop them, showcase them.
They're your key to thriving in this exciting world of work.
The world of tomorrow.
It's a future full of challenges, that's for sure. But
It's also a future full of incredible opportunities.
and the Future of Jobs Report 2025 gives us a roadmap for how to navigate those opportunities.
It does.
It's a reminder that the future isn't something that just happens to us.
We have a say in it.
It's something we create through the choices we make today.
So what choices will you make?
How are you going to prepare for the future of work
Right. We hope this deep dive has given you the knowledge
and the inspiration?
to take those first steps.
Remember, the future is yours to shape.
Embrace lifelong learning.
Yeah.
Cultivate your human skills.
Build that strong network.
With the right mindset and a little preparation
You can thrive.
in the world that's waiting for you.
That's it for our deep dive into the World Economic Forum's Future of Jobs Report 2025.
We hope you enjoyed it.
Until next time, keep learning, keep growing.
And keep diving deep.